clients, merchants, people I know in the industry, people outside of e-commerce, just like business people, they get so caught up in, is this the right decision? Is this the most optimal move? When it doesn't matter. I hate Jeff Bezos on a personal level, but I do know that he's a great businessman. But I think a quote of his is like, if you have an opportunity to want 100x an investment, you take that investment every time. Because it's like, if you keep taking swings like that, like they're going to start.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Brandley.
And I'm DJ Sprague. Welcome to the Cashflo Kings Podcast, where we make you the king of cash flow with new and innovative ways to improve your e-commerce business.
So today we're talking with Chase Clymer. Hey Chase, how's it going, man?
It's going fantastic. The sun's shining. I can't complain.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about creating a Shopify-powered sales machine, right? Is that your terminology, or how do we come up with that one?
I believe the credit goes to Krista Walsh. She is a fantastic copywriter that we used when we were working on the newest iteration of our website.
Nice.
Love it. Shopify powered sales machine. That's a very memorable value prop.
We try our best.
I love it. Yeah, it's memorable. So today we are very fortunate to be talking with Chase Clymer. He's the co-founder of Electric Eye, where he and his team create Shopify-powered sales machines from strategic design and development decisions. He's also the host of Honest eCommerce, a weekly podcast where he provides online store owners with honest, actionable advice to increase their sales and grow their business.
Well, cool, man. Well, let's just kick it right off. So tell us about Electric Eye and what you do to help people create sales machines out of Shopify sites.
Absolutely. We have been in business since 2016. Like most agencies, we started by accident. My partner and I were kind of consulting, freelancing. And then the next thing we knew, we had about 6 clients in the Shopify space, quickly learned what taxes were and how incorporating makes it a little bit easier. So we had a list of 4 song titles from 80s metal song like bands, and Electric Eye by Judas Priest was our favorite that would like work for an agency. So that's kind of where the name came from. At the beginning, we were definitely e-commerce focused, but I think within 3 months of us being an agency, just like how amazing the Shopify ecosystem was and the partner ecosystem back then, we just went all in on Shopify, and we haven't really looked back. So fast forward to now, what we're doing for clients is a lot of strategic front-end decisions. So not only does that incorporate the design of a store, so the customer-facing UX, if you want to be nerdy about it, it's how people buy stuff on your store, right? So the navigation, the page layouts, like how copy is kind of shown to the clients, all that stuff. But also we are heavily opinionated when it comes to your technology stack and the apps that interact with the front end of your Shopify store as well. So that's definitely in our wheelhouse. And then obviously to make those things do what you want, at times it's kind of development. But at the end of the day, it's all, you could argue it's all conversion rate optimization or, AOV optimization, lifetime value optimization. We're just trying to help our clients make more money, but all of it's happening on that on-store experience. Like we're not doing any marketing or advertising stuff. It's just we're taking the traffic you're already getting and helping you sell more faster.
Creating a better user experience and driving people through the funnel.
Yes, exactly. We don't care how they got there. We don't care what happens afterwards. We just care to help while they're there.
Get the sales. Reduce cart abandonment, right?
Yeah, we just found that, here's for the first piece of advice for anyone listening is just be really good at one thing, and it makes everything super easy. So as the years go by, I try to do less and less and say no to more things to really hone in on what it is that we're good at. So we used to kind of dabble in marketing and advertising, and now that's just like a no-go. It allows us to be a better partner as well. We can refer that work off to other experts that we know that are amazing at that, and that's like where they really shine. The whole, you give someone a great client, they're going to give you one back.
What goes around comes around. Pay it forward.
Exactly.
So obviously you've done a lot of Shopify migrations. What are the pitfalls? Where do migrations go wrong?
Yeah. So that's about Q1 for us. More than half of our business is migration projects because people basically experience the limitations of their platform during the Q4 rush and go, oh gosh, I need to get off this thing. So we've migrated people from all sorts of platforms, Magento, WooCommerce, Squarespace, even super custom platforms. As long as we can get access to some sort of database, like our process works to help these merchants migrate. Where they go wrong is thinking it's easy, right? And I forget who I talked to the other day, and they made this kind of allegory, like moving house, right? So you want to hire someone to help you move, right? And are you going to hire them to just drive the truck from your old place to the new place? Or do you want them to come inside, inventory everything, pack it up, come up with a plan to move all of that into the new place, rebuild everything the right way, and then also optimize it because you made a lot of bad choices in your old house, right? So that's like the difference. You have to educate people on what's happening here. And it's wild to me how much merchants don't value that like optimization process during a migration until you really point it out. It's like, why do you want to inherit all these bad choices you made? The reason you're moving from an old platform to a new platform, just if you get rid of all the bullshit, it's you want to make more money, right? So why are you going to repeat the same mistakes and not make it better, make a better user experience, improve the design, make better features for a better experience for your customer at the end of the day? So there's all that. That often happens. That's a good conversation to have. But some other like really specific ones is like when people try to cheap out, oftentimes no one is looking at or caring about the SEO ramifications of a migration. They're not setting up the proper 301 redirects. They're falling off the face of the earth. They're falling off Google the second they turn that new store live for 3 months because they're not doing it the right way. So that's a big mistake people are making. They're not importing their historical data because they're like, oh, we already have those sales. And it's like, well, but like what happens if someone that bought it 3 weeks ago wants to return it? There's a perfect example of why you need that historical data. But also if you're talking about loyalty and VIP status within like building retention, like all of that information needs to come over. And if I buy from you periodically and I buy this specific size and flavor of this thing I like, it tastes good to me, I want to go back into my order history and be like, oh, that's the thing that I always buy. I want more of that, right? So when you cut corners during a migration, you're making a worse experience for your customer, which is honestly just, if you're not going to do it the right way, why do it at all?
Those are great points. Having been through site migrations and site migrations gone wrong without those 301 redirects, years and years ago.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone through several migrations over the years. And one of the difficult things for us was like figuring out customer lifetime value, figuring out like our lifetime churn rates, things like that. If we don't pull that data over, we don't have that. You just lose it, right? When you migrate, right? You lose all that information and it's very hard to get it back. So that's cool that you actually think about that in advance.
Yeah. And then like another thing is something we often tell, like, and this is like when you've got a real business that's actually selling at a decent clip, we're like, don't delete your old website for like 90 days minimum, maybe even just keep it around for a year. It's just like, there's gonna be something that gets overlooked. And that's just the power of the beast because there are so many moving parts in these things. And computers are dumb. They only do exactly what you tell them to do. And I'm sure there's some filter on within this whole thing where something might become missing. So it's like, just make sure you're not just like, once you turn the switch to the new website, you don't just like throw the other one in the trash. Like leave it around for a little bit. Not like online and letting people purchase, just like leave the server up, have it hidden from search engines. And that's nerdy stuff that I can tell you how to do.
Right. Well, and you mentioned tech stacks a little bit earlier. How does that work moving to Shopify and what kind of headaches can that create or avoid if you do it right?
I'll speak about this as if it's a WooCommerce migration because that's like common language to help people understand. But basically, on your old website, right, the way things work and function, the way you buy products, the way your customer does any sort of extra feature or functionality, the way that works will not work the same way on Shopify, more than likely, right? Mm-hmm. So in the WooCommerce world, in Magento, like there's things called plugins. In the Shopify space, they're called apps. But basically, any extended functionality beyond just put thing in cart and purchase is usually an app that needs to get recreated on Shopify. So what we do is we walk our clients through an exercise where it's just like, okay, like what else is happening on this website so we can get feature parity from the first, like your old website to the new website. So that experience is still there. So things like gift cards, right? You got to reset those up. Things like upsell and cross-sell strategies, loyalty and rewards, email automation, like all of these things need to be rebuilt. And I guess this is a good time to highlight that a store built on Squarespace, you can't just copy and paste the design and the code. Like Squarespace is built on a completely different software than Shopify is. So you have to rebuild everything regardless. There is no cutting a corner. Even if you have the same design, even if you have a great design on, say, your Magento site and you're doing $5 million a year and you're moving to Shopify, there isn't a template out there that looks like that. So to match that design, unless you paid Boku bucks and you had it like research and you know it's great, like to match that design on Shopify would be like almost a step backwards because you're taking something and then going to this design that you haven't vetted on Shopify. Oftentimes people think it's like, oh, like it already exists, it is easier. And it's like, no, that doesn't exist in Shopify. We have to rebuild it to that. So it's like when you're making this migration, you want to make things better and not just keep the status quo. But yeah, feature parity is a huge part of this. You need to go through the site and make sure that you're accounting for all the features that are on the old site and also adding in the new features that will make the new site better because obviously you're moving for a reason to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So when you're doing that, Chase, before you do an actual migration or design for the migration, do you guys look at their heat maps or do you install a heat map for like 30 days prior to making that migration, so you know where the abandonment rates are and the depth of scroll on the pages, and looking at user videos to see where people are tripping up and how they're using the old site? Or how does that look for you guys?
Not very often, and the reason why is clients don't want to wait. They already they have felt the pain of their existing store, and they're like, no, we know this is a good decision to move. Let's just get to a better point and then start optimizing from there, right? Because all that data you're gathering on the old website is like nice to know information, but you're still rebuilding the whole entire site. So like the site's going to be so different on Shopify. So a lot of that, you're just going to have to do it over to get the same amount of data. So when people are coming to us with like a more keen conversion rate optimization perspective on these types of things, step one, move to the new site. Step two, or move to Shopify, then start collecting the data.
Okay, that makes sense. So the second part of that question would be, do you have a favorite design that you guys have kind of as a go-to?
Yes and no. So the way that we work is there are a lot of amazing themes in the Shopify ecosystem. And these days with Shopify's online store 2.0 is what they called it. Terrible name. But basically it allows you to get this concept called sections everywhere. So it makes the site extremely customizable and auto administratable within the customizer in Shopify for, at the end of the day, the end client who isn't a developer or a designer or a coder can manipulate basic content, right? And so when we are working with brands, basically we are always going to use what we refer to as an off-the-shelf theme as the base. So basically from there, we're either limited by budget or timeline as if we're going to do a custom design round on top of that. Now, people might make the argument that like, oh, from scratch will give you a faster website. True. That is absolutely true at the trade-off of the functionality of that theme. So if it isn't in the initial design, it's not going to be there on Father's Day when you want to build a different layout for that Father's Day sale. And e-commerce websites are so robust that we believe, and a lot of our merchants are in that $5 to $25 million range. We believe that they are more scrappy, they need to move faster, and they need the flexibility that using a theme that's been installed on tens of thousands of stores and vetted over, all of those stores and QA'd out the wazoo is going to result in a better experience and allow them to move faster to make those changes that they need to make within their business without asking a team like us to do it for them. That's a better end experience for that merchant and for that client, as opposed to selling them a 6-figure custom build where they have to ask us every time that they want to move a letter from here to there.
So we are big into behavioral science and strategy, especially on the conversion rate optimization side, which it sounds like you live. So can you give us some examples of some of the things that you do to increase conversion rates or get more people to buy once you do build out these Shopify sites?
Let me just say this. Our business isn't all migrations and it's not all redesigns. Half the business is like just retainer stuff, ongoing improvements, iterative optimizations, and like even just getting some of that just like, let's just build an awesome landing page. That's what your budget kind of provides. And to just directly, when you said behavioral science, I started thinking about our like landing page like strategy. Oftentimes people will reach out to us right before Black Friday through like right before Q4 and they're like, help. And we're like, all right, well, the best thing to do here is let's build like your website sucks. We know that we can't rebuild it before then. But what we can build is a landing page that is catered for your Black Friday sale with language that speaks specifically to that. We're going to get rid of all of the leaks in the bucket, as we say. So basically, the header and footer are going to be gone. The only call to action, the only available action on that page is going to be put the thing in the cart, and it's going to be more of a long form kind of sales letter-esque landing page. And now here's where that behavioral science stuff comes into. We've been playing with ChatGPT lately, and we were just like, I wonder how well this could write like a landing page for us. And so we just linked to, there's a great resource out there called AIDA landing page strategy. So it's attention, interest, desire, and action are the key things there. So you drop that blog article in there and be like, can you write me a landing page layout with this strategy for this product? And then you drop in the Shopify product URL. And oh my God, does that give you like a first version of it that's, you just build that thing and show the client and they're like, wow, this is great. And then they'll start, because it helps them visualize and understand what that landing page's goal should be. And then they're like, well, we have this content and this testimonial and this video. And then it just helps you get an awesome kind of MVP landing page to then run performance ads against during Black Friday. I went completely off the deep end into the different rabbit hole than what your question was. But when I heard behavioral sciences, that's where I went.
I love
your
that.
actual question?
Yeah, AI is huge right now, and we've been doing the same kind of stuff. Like if you set up AI, it's like ChatGPT, and you give it some parameters ahead of time, and then you tell it to do something, it's mind blowing what you can come up with.
Well, yeah, especially in your guys' space with reviews and stuff. Here's something that we often do for conversion rate optimization is like review mining. So just export all the reviews and dump them into your favorite, machine learning thing. And just be like, what are the commonalities in that you're finding here? What were people thinking before they purchased? What was that change that the product did for them? And you can ask it a bunch of questions and you can just ask it, what questions should I ask you about this data that will give me insights about my customers that will help me sell more? And it will tell you.
Keywords, sentiment, what they like, what don't they like?
Exactly.
What do they want to see changed? How can the product or service be improved? Yeah, so much data mining in those large data sets. It's absolutely amazing. And obviously, the more reviews you have, the better that outcome's going to be.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a great way to mine insights.
Some more simple stuff, though, is we experience this so often, and I just want to give it away for free, is people's navigation is terrible. And that is just product discovery, even as far as like merchandising. Like people make it hard to get to the product that a customer wants because they are too close to it. And like a good strategy I would say is like, go see what the navigation structure looks like on like a Walmart.com or like a Target.com, how that is structured from not only the menus in the navigation, but also the filtering on the sidebar with your product category to give you more inspiration on how you should be thinking about it. Because you should make it as few clicks as possible for a customer that knows what they want to find your product. So that's oftentimes we're doing those a lot in projects or retainers, rebuilding a navigation with a more intuitive and structured approach. And Shopify's search and discovery tool is so good these days, and it's free from Shopify. And so within all that, you can set up filtering, so sidebars within collection pages, all that can be powered by Shopify's search and discovery too, but also the top line navigation and mega menus. Like there's so much opportunity there. And then making sure you're using like a fuzzy logic search, like that right there is just low hanging fruit that still a lot of merchants aren't capitalizing on. And then another one, free money. This is absolutely free money, is a post-purchase upsell. They don't have something like that. But then also, like when we're actually approaching CRO ideation, I believe it was Josh Frank taught me this. He's a great CRO in the space. But he was just like, all right, you always start closest to the money. So start in checkout and then back away. And that's how you start coming up with ideas and testing stuff. And so like in checkout, you can only modify the checkout if you're on Shopify Plus, but having, like things that are going to augment people's fears, uncertainties, and doubts. So trust factors, reviews, warranty, guarantee spoken about in the checkout, or upsells and cross sells in the checkout. Like that's going to make you more money. Back it up to the side cart and the actual cart page. Back it up to the product page / your landing page. Then to your collection page. Then to your homepage. Like honestly, the homepage is like the last thing we're looking at, but obviously there's still like global changes you can make to a website that will improve things. But the free one is post-purchase. They have already bought the product. Worst thing they can do is say no. Best thing they can do is put it in their cart and spend more money. So it instantly increases your AOV.
Yeah, that is a gold mine and something that 90% or more miss. Like I said, the credit card's already there, shipping information. All they have to do is click add to cart or yes, and you've added it. It could be a digital product, it could be a physical product, it could be a course, it could be anything. But even if you raise that, AOV by $9.95, that's free money, especially if it's a digital product.
Exactly.
Right? It's a how-to or a guide or a ebook or a video or a mini course, whatever it is. Create it once, sell it 100,000 times. It's free money.
Yeah. And there's some other ideas that are churning around in my head from that like optimization perspective. Things we're always doing, upsells and cross sells. People say, yes, I want that. And then it's like, okay, well, what is that strategy? How does it work? And they're like, oh, I just thought it was a yes or no question. It's like, no, you have to think about this a little bit more. Like, what are those offers you're doing? And a good exercise to think about it would be like, imagine you're in a physical store and someone is checking out and they have widget A in their hand and you go, well, widget B goes really well with that. Now you're starting to build that strategy out. You have to mimic that sort of conversation within the customer journey and the checkout flow. So, upsells, cross sells, bundling, any sort, buy more, get more, or any sort of like price based discounting, like all that stuff is like, you really have to think it through because telling a computer how to do it is kind of hard.
I mean, you were talking about ChatGPT earlier. You could plug in your product and say, what are some products that relate to this that other people buy? You don't have to do all the mental work yourself.
I do know that Triple Whale does this, and I'm sure some other analytics softwares out there does this. But if you have your store hooked up to that platform, it'll show you like often bought together. Boom, you just like, there you go. If someone buys this, they should maybe buy that. You can put that information into whatever app is powering your cross sells or just offer them as bundles automatically.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. People love bundles and it's much harder to tear apart the cost per item when it's bundled. And so you can actually create a better margin through a bundle than selling individual
value
products.
Is higher.
Yeah, exactly. So the last question, Chase, the $1 million question. What's the most critical strategy to create a Shopify-powered sales machine?
Be decisive. Make the decision. Just move forward. Just always be pushing the ball up the hill. Even if you make the wrong decision, it's not going to put you out of business. Clients, merchants, people I know in the industry, people outside of e-commerce, just like business people, they get so caught up in, is this the right decision? Is this the most optimal move? When it doesn't matter, just like keep trying and keep pushing forward. I hate Jeff Bezos on a personal level, but I do know that he's a great businessman. But I think a quote of his is like, if you have an opportunity to want 100x an investment, you take that investment every time. Because it's like, if you keep taking swings like that, like they're going to start paying off.
Good point. Keep testing, keep trying, experimenting, A/B split testing, multivariate testing. Just keep doing it, right?
Absolutely.
Well, Chase, what's the best way to get a hold of you, follow you, engage with you? How can people learn more about you and what you're doing at your firm?
Sure. So if you are curious if Electric Eye can help improve your e-commerce store, you can check us out at electriceye.io. You can click schedule a call. You'll schedule it right with me. And if you do that quickly, I can probably give away a diagnostic or two before my business partner catches on. So again, electriceye.io. And yeah, we can kind of chat about what's going on. And then if you just like the sound of my voice, you can listen to my podcast called Honest eCommerce. It's on everywhere podcasts are. You can check it out at honestecommerce.co. And then the only social media I'm really active on these days is LinkedIn, where I chop up bits of that podcast and post it every day. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can just search my name, Chase Clymer, ChaseClymer. Thank you.
Well, Chase, we really appreciate you being on the show today and obviously sharing your golden nuggets and insights to our e-commerce audience. And we just want to remind everybody to go to reputationking.com to download your free audio and digital copy of Reputation King. That's going to show you how to optimize your traffic and your conversions and obviously drive more revenue and profits through trust. That's our secret weapon. So have a great day, and we'll see you in the next episode of Cashflow Kings.